Mr. Reed, would you like to lead us in prayer
Yes,
this
please.
evening?
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us in front of the board today. Give us the guidance, the wisdom, and the knowledge to make the right decision for the town, protect our loved ones, protect the military and the country from foreign and local. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Take our roll call. Ms. Lawson.
Here.
Mr. Fry.
Here.
Mr. Reed.
Here.
And Mr. Webb.
Here.
Chair is here, as well as our land use administrator. Would you like to say here?
I'm here.
And do we not have?
I thought Miss Avery was going to be with us. I'm not sure.
Doesn't look like anybody's on yet. No one's dialed in?
No one's dialed in. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we are going to go ahead and open our public hearing this evening. But first, we are going to read the item that we are here to hear on the public hearing, and is item number 1. Planning and Zoning Board recommendation to the Town Council for their approval of ordinance 2025-02 to rezone parcel ID number 163N24000000210030, applicant Courtney Gaber, Rogers Towers. Before we begin the actual public hearing and open it, we would like to again read our quasi-judicial hearing procedures. Again, copies of these procedures are available at the entry of the chamber next to the public comment cards. Florida statutes and courts of Florida require that the following item be heard as a quasi-judicial hearing. Item number 1 is ordinance 2025-02, an ordinance of the town of Hilliard, Florida, a municipal corporation rezoning the property consisting of approximately 9.87 acres, more or less, located on the east side of Pine Street, north of Henry Smith Road, more particularly described in attachment A, legal description specifically described in attachment B, written description, and attachment C, site plan. Hilliard, Florida, Nassau County, parcel ID number 163N24 000000210030 from Agriculture A1 to PUD, Planned Unit Development, providing for severability, repealer, and setting an effective date. All applicants have the burden of demonstrating through competent, substantial evidence that his or her application is consistent with the following requirements. As for item number 1, Article 5 of the Land Development Regulations Comprehensive Plan 2040 and the amended interlocal agreement for public schools facility planning adopted 2008. Those opposed must also demonstrate through competent, substantial evidence that the application does not meet these requirements. General objections without specific evidence does not constitute a substantial competent evidence. The only material or relevant evidence is that which addresses the previously listed requirements. The hearing procedures are as follows. The proceeding officer will read the item on the agenda by title and declare the public hearing open. Number 2, the town attorney or presiding officer shall explain the rules concerning procedure, testimony, and admission of evidence. Number 3, the land use administrator shall briefly describe the applicant's requests, introduce and review all relevant exhibits and evidence, report staff's recommendations, and present any testimony in support of staff's recommendations. Number 4, the applicant or his or her representative or counsel shall present evidence and testimony in support of the application. Applicant shall have a maximum of 30 minutes to make his or her full presentation. including an opening statement and all direct presentation by witnesses, but excluding any cross-examination of questions from the board. The applicant may waive their presentation and rely upon staff comments. If the applicant waives their presentation, they will have the right to review any testimony against their application. Number 5, any other persons present who wish to submit relevant information to the board shall speak next for a maximum of 3 minutes each, excluding any cross-examination or questions from the board. Members of the public will be permitted to present their non-expert opinions, but the board will expressly be advised that public sentiment is not relevant to the decision, which must be based only upon competent and substantial evidence. Number 6, the applicant will be permitted to make final comments, if any, and will have a maximum of 15 minutes to do so. Number 7, the land use administrator will make any final comments, if any. Number 8, the presiding officer will ask for a motion to close the public hearing from the Planning and Zoning Board. Number 9, the board will conduct open deliberation of the application or agenda item. Number 10, upon deliberation, shall include a motion by the board. A motion by the board to approve the item shall be consistent with the following. I move that the board find the proposed rezoning is consistent with the comprehensive plan, complies with all procedural requirements, and serves the public interest. As based on these findings, approve the rezoning application. A motion to the board is a motion by the board to deny the approval. The application should include one or more of the following. The application is not consistent with the comprehensive plan. The application does not meet the procedural requirements, or the application is not in the public interest. Number 11, after deliberations, a roll call vote shall be taken to approve with conditions, or deny the application or the agenda item. Number 12, the meeting is recorded. Therefore, there can be no applause, outbursts, talking, or comments from the audience, as it could distort the recording. Number 13, the town attorney represents the board and provides counsel, including advice to the hearing procedures and relevancy of the evidence. Number 14, the strict rules of evidence applicable to the court proceedings will not be utilized. However, the board, with assistance from the town attorney, may exclude evidence that is not relevant to the code criteria as set forth in the application or is repetitive in nature. Number 15, in accordance with Florida Statute 2860105, if any person decides to appeal any decision made of this board with respect to any matter considered at this scheduled meeting or hearing, the person will need a record of the proceedings, and for such purpose, he or she may need to ensure that a verbatim record of the proceedings is made, which record includes the testimony and evidence upon which the appeal is to be based. So with that, we will go ahead and do you have comments?
For ex parte communication, and then we have to declare the
Okay.
public hearing.
So I would call upon the board to disclose any ex parte communication regarding this item. None, okay. So then we will call for an opening.
No.
Okay, so we'll call to open the public hearing.
My turn. Okay, Planning and Zoning Board recommendation to the Town Council for approval of ordinance 2025-02 to rezone parcel ID as previously stated. Applicant is Courtney Gaver from Rogers and Towers. The documents included in the packet for your review, which is your evidence packet from the town. Item 1.1, the staff report. Item 1.2, the full ordinance 2025-02. Item 1.3, quasi-judicial hearing procedures. Item 1.4, advertisement for ordinance 2025-02 for this public hearing. Item 1.5, application for PUD 01132015 with a revision from February 24th, 2025. Item 1.6, concurrency application. Item 1.7, Nassau County School Board notice of reservation. Item 1.8, owner's authorization. Ms. Gaver has applied to rezone the property at the parcel previously stated. The property is approximately 10 acres. Property lies on the east side of Pine Street, north of Henry Smith Road. The property has a zoning designation of agricultural. The owner is proposing to change the zoning designation of the property to PUD, Planned Unit Development. The applicant has provided the required documentation and complied with the request of staff, council, and board members as addressed through workshops, email communication, and phone calls. The parcel, 10 acres, is currently owned by Intact Construction Management, and the owner's authorization notification has been provided. Intact Construction Management Group plans to develop the property with up to 28 single-family dwelling units and attached single-family dwelling units, townhomes, duplexes. Financial impact is none, as the applicant is required to pay all application, advertisement, and review fees. Staff recommendation. Staff recommendation to the Planning and Zoning Board to recommend to the Town Council approval of ordinance 2025-02 with the condition that language updates be made to the written description of the PUD, specifically with regards to meeting fire flow expectations according to the Town of Hilliard Water and Wastewater Utility Specifications, Documentations, Requirements Manual. Staff report. Applicant information, Courtney Gaver, Rogers Towers. Their address is listed. Property information, the address is 36107 Pine Street in Hilliard. Future land use map designation is medium density residential. And this project is not asking for a density increase. The current zoning is A1. The proposed zoning is PUD, Planned Unit Development, and the property is approximately 10 acres. Surrounding properties north of the property is medium density residential with a zoning of A1, single family. South of the property is medium density residential A1, single family. East of the property is medium density residential zoned A1. It's vacant and has timberland on it. West of the property is low density residential. It's zoned A1 and it is for single family use. Then in your staff report, you have the general plat map from the property appraiser's website, an aerial view of the property that was taken January of 2023, your future land use map, your zoning, current zoning map. Then you have your flood zone map. It is in flood zone X. And then below that, you have your potential wetlands map. In some research by the project, they found a little bit larger portion of what we think St. John's is going to consider wetlands, and they're including it in their pond delineation. It's on their conceptual site plan. They'll show you. It's just a little bit of a different location than what the property appraiser's map shows as potential wetlands, but it is delineated out. And then you have the conceptual site plan in part of your staff report, and it's on display here for you tonight. All right, documents provided for review, staff report, ordinance 2025-01, advertisement for the ordinance public hearing, application for the PUD, and all the required attachments. Additional application information. We've already read that part. Okay, so consistent with the comprehensive plan and policies, the proposed zoning change is consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the Hilliard Comprehensive Plan. The proposed zoning is consistent with the future land use map and is compatible with surrounding development. Availability of services. Water and sewer service have capacity to serve this development. A force main with a fixed generator will be provided by the development and connected north of Lorena Drive. A Nassau County driveway permit will be required to access the property. Land suitability. The soil on the property is suitable for development. A permit from St. John's River Water Management District will be required for the development. There are approximately 0.14 acres of judicial wetlands, jurisdictional wetlands on the site, which will be retained with the appropriate buffers. The parcel has a flood zone of Zone X. Land use administrator's comments and recommendations. I can confirm that the proposed rezoning uses are consistent with the comprehensive plan and as the rezoning provides a wide variety of housing types and price points to meet the community's diverse and evolving needs while maintaining areas for other uses and preventing overdevelopment. My recommendation to the Planning and Zoning Board is for the board to make a recommendation to the town council to approve ordinance 2025-02 Holland Walk with the condition that language updates be made to the written description of the PUD specifically with regards to meeting fire flow expectations according to the Town of Hilliard water and wastewater utility specifications and documentation requirements manual. Ms. Gavor's turn.
Presentation. I assume it's up. Good evening, Courtney Gaver, Rogers Towers, 1301 River Place Boulevard. I didn't realize I had 30 minutes. That's news to me. So Ben told me to keep it to 29, so I'll be
Okay.
brief. So again, this is a rezoning request. Let's see if I can work this time.
Remember, down is up.
Let's see. I know. Let's make sure it's on. That always helps. There we go. Okay. So again, rezoning request submitted on behalf of the owner, Intact Construction Management Group, LLC. Mr. Ben Buchanan with Intact is here. Again, this is almost 10 acres located off of Pine Street, north of Henry Smith Road. Again, we're asking for a rezoning from A1 to PUD to build a maximum of 28 residences. This request is consistent with your future land use map designation for the property, which is medium density residential. Medium density residential allows from 2 to 6 units per acre. And so with 28 units based on the gross acreage, we're sitting at the lower end of that. We're at 2.84 units per acre. So we're consistent with your comp plan. This is the updated site plan. I say updated because there are a couple of changes we made since our workshop that I'm going to just quickly walk through. The first big change was when we workshopped this back in December, we originally had 31 total units. We have now dropped that down from 31 to 28. That was mostly driven by our traffic engineer has already been speaking with Nassau County on what's going to be required for the roadways. And Mr. Buchanan can speak more to this, but essentially with the types of additional things with Nassau County, it just made more sense to drop it to 28. Also, and of that 28, we're proposing 22 single-family units on the front end of the property, and then 6 attached single-family units or multi-family units, which right now we're proposing 1 duplex and then 4 townhomes. So that's a little bit different. I think the site plan we had at the workshop showed all townhomes, 2 buildings of 4 each. So with this change, this allowed, as we know, if you were here at the workshop in December, this is a legacy project for Mr. Buchanan. And so we've tried to maintain as many large trees that are on the property as possible and to provide really a beautiful entrance at the beginning. So with the reduction in the unit count, we were also able to increase the passive recreation areas at the southwest corner. That one went up slightly. We also were able to shift the lots over to save some trees, as well as add on the additional recreation area that you see to the south of the duplex there near the water pond. As Ms. Wallet's indicated, all the wetlands on the site are going to be retained. One of the additional comments we received at the workshop, I think, was from Council President Sims, who had indicated always a concern about, are cars going to park on the roadways, even though they won't be dedicated to the town, and whether we could increase the front setback to make those driveways longer to the single family homes. So we did increase them. It went from 20 feet, which is more of the standard, to 25 feet. In the interim, we also did do the school concurrency impact analysis. The school district does have capacity for the children this site is projected to generate. So we've locked in the capacity for there. So again, we have complied with your staff comments. I do understand there is a condition relating to the hydrant flows on the south end of Pine Street, which is really a byproduct of a review of that by the town for a property that's proposed to the north of us. So we have no issue with that condition. Our engineers have already been looking at that and how we can address that. And so at the end of the day, whatever we're required to do, we heard back from Midtower yesterday on some of the comments for our proposals, and whatever the town is going to require, that will be incorporated. So there's no issue. It's more of like an engineering thing, just making sure that we're all on the same page. So the project is consistent with your comp plan. it's compatible with the surrounding areas and uses and meets your land development code. So with that, I'm going to turn it over for Mr. Buchanan if he has any comments. Maybe he does.
He does not. But I'm more than willing to answer questions if you guys have any questions. But I will speak on one thing. As far as the attached units, the expectation is for that to be 3 duplex units. So 6 residences in 3 buildings. Even though it's broken by the drainage easement, the 4 lots to the north of that drainage easement will be 2 buildings, 2 units each. So that row will actually consist of 3 duplex buildings. Other than that, I think Courtney covered everything. And again, if you got any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks.
We'll need to take public comment and close the public hearing again if we have some questions. Thank you.
Okay, so that concludes our applicant comment. For now, we would call upon the public for any comments. If you would like to come speak to the board, present some questions, we would be happy to hear them. Just need you to step to the microphone, state your name and the address. All right, so we'll take a motion then to close the public hearing on ordinance 2025-02.
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
A second motion.
awesome. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Your discussion.
So this opens this section up for our board to ask some questions. I do have a question, and this may not be necessarily for you guys, but maybe just in general knowledge. But with the intermodal agreement with the Nassau County School District, is that a decision or a statement from them at the time that each project is put in front of them? Do they forecast other projects? Do they?
I can answer that.
Okay.
Okay, so
Because I don't know.
They have a formula and a forecast for projects.
Okay.
So they say, this is how many students our school can hold. This
Right.
is how many students our school has. This is how much space we have left.
Okay.
Then they say, based on standard enrollment, we add X number of students a year. So we have
So they-
this many spaces left. And then as projects come, they get in line in order.
So they are in order.
They are in order and they
Okay.
stay in order as they are approved.
Okay.
So the next person who comes behind Mr. Buchanan, even if they build before him, the application is in the order that it hits the
Okay.
desk at the school board. And then
Okay.
they reserve that space for a set amount of time. Mr. Buchanan will have, I believe it's 18
I think
months
it's 2 years.
to get
Oh, okay.
horizontal construction approval. So that site plan approval and preliminary plat. He has to get that accomplished in the
Right.
2 years, or he loses his spot in line and has to get back. He has to go back and do that part
Reapply.
again.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
but if he
That makes
gets
sense in that.
horizontal site plan approval and preliminary plat approval, plat approval in those 2 years, then his space is saved.
Okay.
And just my own personal comment here, last night in our, the workshop with the school board, there are 230 seats in the high school, and there's 198 in the elementary, or was it
Something like that.
178? That are available right now.
Right now, as of this moment, there are 148 seats available at Hilliard Elementary and 218 seats available at Hilliard High School as of yesterday.
I was just curious how that worked with all the different projects being juggled right now by, with applications. I was just wondering how that lineup went, so.
Real quick, because this is much more conversational than the last hearing you guys had for Tompkins Preserve. I think it's important that everybody realize when we make that application, the question that the school board is answering is, do they need to pre-collect the impact fees?
Right.
Or do they have capacity such that the impact fees can be collected when building permits? So it's a matter of, if we're running out of space in the school, in my case, they would take the 28 lots, the impact that the school creates, times $5,640 per rooftop, and require that of me prior to approving the development, so that then they can take those dollars and build
Build a new class.
classroom space.
But with
It's-
there being some availability at this time where you're at in line, that's not an issue.
Right,
With-
right.
Okay.
But they're gonna get their money.
Yeah.
And they're gonna get right now, $5,640 per building permit.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, when you hear proportionate share,
Okay,
that's when they're pre-collecting.
Okay.
Basically, there's not capacity.
right.
So a developer would have to go in and say, you don't have capacity, so we're gonna prepay.
Mhm.
Usually it's by like engineering approval or within, it's negotiated with the district.
Right,
So,
I got you. Okay. I knew there was a plan, I just
Yeah.
didn't know the,
It can get,
inter
it can get cumbersome.
workings.
It's probably an oversimplified way to explain it.
Board, any other questions?
Any other questions from our board for our applicants?
I do have one. Down here at the end in front of the duplexes, the T, is that specifically for future use or
So
going towards Henry Smith?
it could be.
Okay.
I don't like cul-de-sacs from a
Yeah,
from a buildability, if that's a word, standpoint.
Yeah.
When you have cul-de-sacs, you end up with wedges and you end up with 14 mailboxes on that 65-foot circle. And what you wind up with physically is front doors looking into the sides of houses because they're
Right.
oriented kind of funky. I can tell you that given that mentality, I did talk to Mr. Harris, who's south of us, about 4 or 5 of his acres so that we could continue and come out at Henry Smith. He wasn't interested in talking. That's his kid's inheritance, all the things. So that's fine. I don't think Miss Mayo has plans of going anywhere. It could create connectivity, but for now,
it was just a question, that's all.
and that the geometry of that has been run through AutoTurn, which is an engineering thing.
Right.
They take 1967 American LaFrance ladder truck or something and literally pull it through those corners to make sure that
Right.
that operates as well as a cul-de-sac for the sake of
Probably actually
EMS.
better than a cul-de-sac.
I have a thought on that. And just from a town perspective too, like if you ever in the future did have now you require a PUD for over 4 acres that came to the south or the north, the town could condition and say you have to connect. So it's like basically preparing for potential future development.
Well, that's what I was
Yeah.
getting at, one way or another, whether he does it or someone else comes, I want that connected to Henry Smith.
Correct. So that's like basically pre-planning for that in the future.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question. What do you do for privacy fences between the two subdivisions? Do you have a vinyl fencing? What are you gonna do for
He
those?
doesn't connect to any other subdivisions right now.
Behind it, is it
It's not approved yet. It's potential.
Where's one still?
The
Southern
southern one doesn't touch them.
Yeah, they're down one lot, or one.
There's
So moving from the south, Mr. Reed, it's Mr. Harris that fronts Henry Smith, us, Miss Mayo, then Southern Glen. And much like the gentleman from CETA said, those questions are really tough to answer at this stage because we don't know what topography is going to finish at. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it'd be great to run 1,300 feet of privacy fence at the south and at the north. But if our engineering says that the houses need to be sitting on pads that are 30 inches tall, you're standing on the back porch and that privacy fence is at your waist. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said in the workshop, the goal is for this to be something that's really nice and something that I can be proud of. And I think my parents would be proud of. So we're not going to skimp, but can't answer what that will look like just yet. We did do some silviculture, they call it, selective clearing, just cleaning the place up. And on both the south and the north, we did leave fairly natural. So at a minimum, that should stay, so it'd be natural buffer anyway.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions from our board? We need to close the public hearing.
We closed the public hearing.
Oh, we did.
You're now
Sorry.
at motion for your
All
recommendation.
right, sorry. All right, so we will accept a motion to either approve or deny the recommendation to the town council.
I'll make a motion to approve a recommendation to the council with all the land use administrators' comments put into record.
The condition for the specs
conditions,
manual. Okay.
yes,
The
yes,
proposed rezoning is consistent with the comprehensive plan, complies with all the procedures.
yes, and that all so long as they meet all the land use administrators' recommendations, giddy up.
I'll second the motion.
Mrs. Lawson, how do you
Yes.
vote? Mr. Wright?
Yes.
Ms. Reed?
Yes.
Ms. Webb?
Yes.
And Chair votes yes. Thank you. All right.
We'll see you on the 20th before the town council.
We'll be there.
Okay. Will you bring my map back on the 20th?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then I'll need to keep it after that one.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you all.
All right, moving on to item number 2, in our regular meeting, we have any additions or deletions to the agenda as stated? Nope. Moving on to number 3. Item number 3, Planning and Zoning Board recommendation to the town council. The minor subdivision application 2025-0211, parcel ID number 083N24238000750020, property owner Sherry Downs.
Okay, background. Ms. Downs purchased this property in August of 2024. Starting in November of 2024, Ms. Downs pulled renovation permits, including plumbing, electrical, roof, doors, and windows to renovate the single-family home on the property. The dwelling unit has a water meter but is not connected to the town sewer system. In February of 2025, an application to split the lot was submitted. The proposed lot split will separate the existing dwelling unit from the existing driveway/culvert. A development investigation was last completed on the proposed vacant parcel in the summer of 2023. An updated development investigation will be required prior to any development on the new vacant property. The property in question is zoned in the R3 zoning district, which has the following requirements: 62-285B1, a minimum lot width of 70 feet. B2, minimum lot area of 7,000 square feet. D, yard requirements, 25 feet front yard, 12 and a half feet side yard, 30 feet rear yard. The proposed lot, both of them, meet the R3 requirements. Financial impact on the town is none. Recommendation. It is my recommendation that the Planning and Zoning Board recommend to the town council approval of the lot split as proposed with the following conditions. Condition number 1, the applicant shall record the lot split with the clerk of court and provide the town with evidence of the recordation. Condition number 2, the applicant shall obtain real estate parcel ID number for the newly created parcel from the property appraiser and provide the real estate parcel number to the town. And condition number 3, that a new driveway culvert permit be pulled and a new driveway be constructed to serve the dwelling unit that is already on the parcel.
Okay.
Can we add another recommendation to that?
You want to add another condition? Okay.
If and when they develop the second lot
Mhm.
and they have to run sewer and pay that property is connected to the sewer.
Okay, so our utility specs manual and chapter 58 of our code says when and if they develop the new parcel, the new vacant one, whatever
And
they
that
do
they-
on it. Yes,
That would just be that one
no,
parcel.
right. So chapter 58 says if the new sewer is run like in front of an existing dwelling unit, so that dwelling unit. So if they develop the larger parcel that's currently vacant in the future, and they have to run a sewer line and put a manhole to serve whatever goes on the new vacant parcel. Chapter 58 says at that point, they would have to connect the existing house to our sewer system as well and get it off of the septic tank. And they would have 1 year, whoever purchases the new, yes, whoever purchases that house, if they choose to sell it or keep it and rent it, whoever owns that house at the time will have 1 year to connect to the town sewer system.
And if they develop that second lot, are they going to be required to run a 6-inch water main?
That's what your utility specs manual says. There's a 6-inch water on
Pipe.
Fifth is that new oak. So they would connect to the 6. There's every 400 feet residential fire hydrants required, and you have to dead end at a hydrant. So they would
Is that 400 or 500?
anyway. It's in the manual. I got it right here.
But they would they,
So just like when we did over here with Matt Taylor, when he did his lot split, we made him run the 6-inch line and put a hydrant.
Okay.
It would be the same requirement.
okay,
That's what your
That's
specs
fine.
manual calls.
that's all I need.
Residential is 500 feet. You're correct. Section 23.
That's all I need.
Okay, so do we need to put it as a condition or you just need to make it known to the applicant?
I just to make it known.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Concerns? Do you have any questions or concerns? No? Okay.
Okay. So at this point, we will entertain a motion for approval to recommend or denial to recommend to the.
Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
Do they own the front piece too?
What from? No, I think that's a different property owner. The piece
Okay.
closer to New Oak. Oh, the
Yeah,
last time I looked, it had a different property owner. Do you own the piece? No, okay, that's what I
Okay.
thought. That's because it's vacant as well. It's still wooded. Yes.
that's all. Because my ex parte that I should have said earlier, I did drive by and look at it.
This one isn't public hearing. You don't have to ex parte. But you can tell us. It's still good to
You
tell us.
can drive by, you don't, it's when you
I
have
did drive
discussion.
by and looked at it.
It's when you have discussion with an applicant.
If he talks to himself.
He talked to himself.
He does. All right,
I
so,
make a motion to approve application number 2025-0211 with conditions and list from the land use administrator.
Second.
Can we call the roll?
Ms. Lawson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
And Chair votes yes. Awesome, moving on to,
Give me just a minute.
Okay.
So you'll be on the, I'm sorry,
no, please.
council agenda on the 20th of March, unless that date is conflicting for you. If it is, let me know. We'll go on the first meeting of April, okay? Otherwise, we'll push it forward 20th of March, and the town council gives their final word, and then you can go record your lot split, if they say yes.
Awesome,
Okay?
thank you. Thank you, guys.
We would also probably like to go ahead and move forward with the sewer extension for that house that's currently there.
Okay.
We talked to about that.
Me, give me a call this week, and I'll get you that development investigation application. We have to send it to the engineer for them to give some distance and some depth to make sure it's manhole appropriate at the far end and how deep that manhole might have to be.
Would the one used from Wayne Hickenbottom's previous request work still, or is that?
It is there. It's more than 6 months old, so I would have to send it to them and make sure they don't have any additional comments to add. But at the time, he was only asking for 2 homes total. The one you've renovated, he was considering tearing down and replacing, and then a new one. So if you have a different idea for what you want to do for that parcel, and I'm guessing you might, because of all that you will have to do to get there, you will probably need it to be several homes. So we'll have a chat about that and just include that with our consultation with the engineer, so they're fully aware of what we're talking about. So we don't want them to give us an answer on 2 dwelling units, and then we need an answer on 6 dwelling units total for that acre. Then we got to circle back. We don't want to do that twice. Okay, so I'll be in the office all day tomorrow, and I'll be in the office all day Friday. So you just give me a call, and we'll talk through it and get your paperwork together. Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. All right. Well, we'll move on with our item number 4, which is our approval from our minutes from our February 4th, 2025 regular meeting. And to be quite honest with you, I did not even get all the way down to that. Is that the big meeting? No, that was the one.
That was the-
Okay, yeah.
that was the simple-
That was
simple
January.
simple.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so,
I'll make a
entertain
motion.
motion, Ms. Lawson,
Second.
Mr. Webb, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, as well. All right, with that, we are going to call upon the public. No more public. Board members, any comments, concerns, observations?
It's awful quiet tonight for that public hearing.
I
Yeah,
expected
thank
a-
goodness. You know, I hate to say it, I think sometimes it just comes down to the project. So no comments from our board. Ms. Willis, do you have anything for us?
I have a few things. You know, I always do. Next Thursday, there's a workshop with the town council. It is not a joint workshop.
Oh.
But Tompkins
Did I miss
Preserve,
one? Did I miss a workshop?
I think, so second Thursday of every month,
It's always,
always, second Thursday of every month.
I did
It's a
not
set
know.
workshop.
and that's always a joint?
No,
Okay.
it's rarely a joint. And it's
Okay.
not a joint this time.
Okay.
But they're talking about something that you have heard before. That's what I'm
Okay.
telling you about it. So
Okay, gotcha.
they're going to be discussing the Tompkins Preserve PUD, the one that you had the big giant public hearing on. So we've done some water flow testing in that part of town since they went past you, and they don't have enough pressure to meet fire flow. So at this point, they're at a hard stop until they figure out fire flow for that. There's plenty of gallons, but the system as a whole loses too much pressure in that part of town when fire hydrants are open, and we can't do that to the current residents in the case of a fire. So they're gonna come meet with the council next Thursday and talk through their options for remedying that problem before they move forward. I will be in Washington DC next week, so I will not be here for the meeting. You are welcome to come listen at the meeting if you want, answer questions. If they ask them of you, they probably won't have any questions for you. It's not a joint workshop.
Can I ask just a general question, Ben? Why did we not know that before that?
It's not needed for you to know it. That literally comes later in the process. You just make a recommendation. It meets the zoning requirements. That's the only thing you do at your public hearing. Then when it gets to council, they give specific
On that,
requirements.
and one of theirs was that it has to be.
And so
private.
they
Okay.
don't even have to have this answer now. The council's specific requirement is it has to meet the manual. And the manual says it can't drop below that pressure.
And it didn't.
It did.
Oh, it
So-
did.
So the project wants to figure out exactly what the town's gonna make them do 2 years from now
Yeah.
to meet that before they move forward to the end, because if it's too high of a dollar amount, they can't overcome that with the amount of houses they want to build, then they'll scrap the project.
Right.
So the reason this workshop's happening with the council is because the project wants more details in their PUD, not because we require more details in the PUD. Because we can just say they have to meet the manual and then they have to meet the manual. They want to know, how can we meet the manual? What's that gonna cost us? Can we recover it building 148 houses, or do we need to find more land or scrap the project?
Gotcha.
So expand or
Or
kill.
reduce houses.
I don't think that would help
No?
based on the flow test that we
Okay.
had.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so that's one thing. Do you have anything else next Thursday?
No, just the town council did, increase my hours.
Okay.
So I am now in the office a full 8-hour day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And in addition to that, I'm here for meetings. So they put me up to 30 hours a week, where before I was up to 20 hours a week.
Okay.
So I will be in the office all day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, if you need me. And finally, Mr. Guy has done some updates to some of our security software things. So if your iPad, I know Mr. Kevin's, if it cannot get on the web, or if you cannot get logged in and see the agenda on the cloud, I need to know, and I need you to give me your password to your iPad and leave it with me so I can get it fixed. There's a lot more things happening in the technological side at Town Hall.
I do have a question, going back to our board. I know we've probably all received emails, from a concerned citizen, or is someone addressing that, or?
I don't know what you're talking about.
These right here.
Okay, so, the things that they are concerned about are being addressed or have been addressed as part of the PUD already.
Okay, so is there an official response to say, if you would like more information about your concerns, please attend a workshop, please attend the next
This
meeting, or
person
something
has
like that?
attended a meeting and has gotten response from our engineers. You're
Okay.
welcome to say, thank you for, you're welcome to say whatever you would like.
Right.
I would recommend,
No,
thank you for
No, I-
either not responding or thank you for reaching out. I'll be sure to keep this in mind moving forward.
Okay,
I don't know what you're talking
all right. We do not have an attorney, so therefore, we are,
to adjourn.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Official.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.